course of his life, Grieg had several unproductive periods due to a chronic illness. The year 1880 marked the end of one of such periods, and the inspiration came from poet Aasmund Olafsson Vinje, a proud romantic Norwegian nationalist. Grieg, whose sentiments perfectly aligned with Vinje's, chose 12 poems to set to music as a song cycle. From those 12, Grieg transcribed 2 of them for string orchestra: Hjertesår, The Wounded Heart, and Våren, The Last Spring. Hello everyone, I'm Gianmaria Griglio and I welcome you to a new episode of Conducting Pills. If you're new here, this channel is all about classical music, score analysis and conducting tips. I want to thank all of my patrons for making this series possible, for your continuous appreciation and for your suggestions. And now, on with Grieg. The first melody speaks about the wounds suffered by the heart in the struggles of life. It begins in a very dark C minor with the melody played by the first violins. Notice the second violins and violas split into 2, while the basses are absent. The very first note is for the second violins on a G pedal. The other half of the second violins in the low register double the violas on bar 2, while the second half of the violas double the cellos. The parts are moving in contrary motion, a composing trait that goes way back to the origins of counterpoint. Coupled with the register in which these parts are playing, it contributes to a dark sound stirring emotions from the inside. The music hit the brakes for a second on bar 5. Notice the 2 down bow markings for everyone, increasing the weight of both notes and creating a natural breath between them, while the players lift the bow for the second note. The second part of the phrase uses the same elements, moving up in the register and ending up on C major. Notice the cello's divisi on the last chord. It adds depth to the sound without too much weight, which would come, for instance, by using the basses on the same note. We move to the next verse and the next section. The palpitations of the heart are visible in the repeated 8 notes. Each section, or half section, starts at 2 quarters from each other. The second half of the violas, then the first half of the violas, same for the second violins. Everything builds up to the entrance of the line, sung by the cellos. The basses join in pizzicato, mirroring the first violins in a lower register. Notice the articulation on the 8 notes, 1 long, 2 short, but in the same bowing. This, coupled with the down bow stroke, creates a natural effect of stressing the first of the 3 notes, the one that would normally have the weaker stress, adding more tension to this accompaniment. The melody, now sung by the cellos, is the only one in the mezzo-forte dynamic and bears the marking cantabile. This is how there is no more break between the first and the second half of the phrase. Following the rhythm bowing, the cellos actually end up on the down bow on the downbeat of 3 bars before letter B, with the following 2 notes in legato, 1 bowing with the natural diminuendo. Eliminating the break of the retake here ties the second part of the phrase in a more dramatic way, almost without breathing between the 2 parts, emphasizing the anxious character of this middle part. The last repetition of the melody is left to the first violins again, in octaves and in a forte dynamic. Notice the marcato sign, the accents in the second violins and violas, the doubling of cellos and basses now adding that weight to balance the higher register and power of the first violins, and adding all the drama needed to make this phrase explode. The dynamics are more and more insistent, going to a forzato, then to a più forte, and becoming more intense with a crescendo. We would expect maybe a fortissimo here now, but instead Grieg surprises us again with a pianissimo. Only to grow again a bar later, sweeping up to the fortissimo dynamic. The phrase retreats down slowly, diminuendo, ritardando, and morendo to a pianissimo dynamic in C major. Faith has been restored. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking on the subscribe button right below this video and ring the bell so you will get notified every time a new video comes out. For more in-depth analysis, conducting technique and conducting exercises, look on my website where you can find more than 100 videos and follow my Facebook group. If you want to support this series, you're always welcome to do so on Patreon. All the links are in the description. Let me know in the comments what you think about this piece, if you have any suggestions for future videos, and I will see you in the next episode of this series. In the meanwhile, please continue to enjoy music and be well.